Hello, Stream. Welcome to tonight's Treasure Tuesday Dungeons and Dragons. We are going to have the best time, and it's gonna be super fun. I didn't write a recap. So, what happened last time, folks?
We found the murderer, turned him in, made money. Next job.
Yep.
Went to the blacksmith.
Yep.
We almost got arrested.
Yeah, you all did.
Yeah, your threshold's
You were
pretty
there
low if that's
too.
almost got arrested.
I don't remember you almost getting arrested. How did you do that?
Quentin decided to act suspicious.
Not all of us.
And he was like, no, do it. Come question us. Interrogate me. Do it. You won't. And then, what's his face?
Oh, to Lieutenant Rate. Right.
Yeah, Lieutenant Rate called his bluff and came and questioned us. But we found out that
Isn't it
Lieutenant
bluff?
Rate is just sort of a sad man. But he has a girlfriend that we learned about, which is pretty rad. Good for him.
Right.
I don't remember that either.
I stole a letter off his desk.
Oh, that's right. You would not believe the shit I have to improvise because of the stunts you pull.
You're welcome.
Yes, I would.
I was talking to another GM the other day about that, where they were like, does your rogue pull all the stunts? And I said yes. And they were like, does it really bug you? And I was like, no, it forces me to be creative and I like it. And fortunately, they're not the kind of rogue that is like, you know what? You clearly want me to go right, so I'm going to go left. So I appreciate you, Relic, for not being a butt and instead
Hold on now.
being
You're throwing
fun.
out this R word like I'm a rogue or something like that. It's definitely not who I am.
No, but you pull roguey stunts.
You're a thief, is what she means.
Yes.
There's a thin line
Whoa,
between bards and
whoa.
rogues.
Yep.
Wrong word.
I don't think you actually have a class. I think your character is just purely Relic.
Whoa.
It's
you
his
might have
own-
a little bit of class, just not much.
No, I mean like a character class, right? Like Relic is just Relic. Like you can't put a box around that dude. He just
I think
is.
Considering his
entire
size,
party,
I
he's
think
literally
you can.
the only one you could physically put a box around.
I
Wow.
could even put a magic box around him.
The box before.
Okay, so you
said
guys
wouldn't talk about that.
found the murderer. You almost got arrested. You got paid for the murderer. You leveled up to level 3.
Hot tiggity.
You went back to the Candlestick Inn. You picked up the sword.
Yes.
Oh, Harlot gave Druge a very cool chair.
Oh, I got my super cool sword.
You did get your super cool sword.
Yeah.
And the chair is kind of dope.
Yeah, I'm pretty fond of the chair. Alright, I think we're gonna... Oh, who has a thingy? Marthala, you have an RP point for holding Druge's trunk like you're holding his hand outside of the money changers.
Yeah.
Harlech, so the honorable mentions for RP point go to Harlech for giving Druge a chair, to Relic for bringing up Gorko to try and guilt everyone into giving a cut to the Gorko fund, and to Quentin for being Quentin and Quentining up our meeting with Lieutenant Rate, and I'm reading it directly from what was written last time. You guys learned that Rate is much younger than he thought he was. Rate has a liaison. Marthala was right about Dudman, and there might be more than one killer. Sound about right?
Yep.
Yep.
I thought it wasn't
Neat.
so much might as pretty much guaranteed.
Well, might is the word that was written down before. Like, for learned, I try and write down what you say verbatim, which is why I made a confused face when I read Rate much younger than he thought he was, because I do not know what that means. I hope you guys do. I am really not remembering our last session. That only happens to me occasionally. I apologize.
I think he was much younger than we thought he was.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he thought he was older, that'd be a little weird.
It happens, though. You know? All right, so let's say it's the next morning. Let's say that. Yep, let's say you guys are all down at breakfast. Marie has already come and gone, served you food. You're finishing up what's on your plates.
Fill the bacon off of Quentin's plate. We can just go ahead and go past that.
Yep, sure.
Automatic at this stage.
So Maria bustles back out and she says, oh, sorry, no. So Marie is, you can hear her out in the yard, the front yard of the inn, saying, shoo, go on, get, shoo. Oh, don't big eyes, go, get, go on, shoo. And then she stomps back into the common room and she says, did one of you feed a dog?
And Quentin will kind of look up and just kind of nod his head.
She scowls at you and she says, well, now it won't leave the front yard. So you go get rid of it or do something with it. Because I keep tripping over him every time I go out there and I just do something. She clearly is like out of sorts this morning. And she makes like a, you do it. No, like, and then stomps back into the kitchen and you can hear her banging things around.
So I'll get up and go outside and kind of.
So
what do I see when I go out there?
In the front yard of this inn, there's piles of boxes and crates and things like up along the walls and like a pile of firewood. And behind the pile of firewood, no, I'm sorry, this is the front door. Nope. I think I said it was the front door, and what I meant was that it was the back door. I apologize. Can we all pretend I said back door?
Yes.
Great. In the backyard, Jesus, is a pile of crates and a bunch of firewood. It looks like Brie was unpacking a delivery. Fresh vegetables. And there's clearly some barrels that need to be rolled down into the basement and be tapped. You walk out there. Roll me a perception check.
Let's see here. That's a Quentin roll. That's a natural 1.
Nice.
You trip on the door thing on the ground.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I do.
And you catch yourself on the door jamb.
Mm-hmm.
But like you really almost go down, and before you can look back up again, you hear something skitter away, like bolt away. And the inn is backed out onto an alley. What do you do?
I'll kind of like pull some bacon out of my pocket. So I feel like at this point it's happened often enough. He's just started carrying it on him.
Okay.
And he'll kind of hold it out and kind of whistle and
Pocket bacon.
see if anything responds.
Do you have an animal handling?
I do.
Want to roll me that for
Yes.
funsies?
Probably not great. It's okay.
Gotta be better than a 1.
You would think so. Yeah, that's better. It's
You'd
a
want it to
16.
be. So around the corner, like in the alley, you see that dog. You see a dog's nose poke out, and it's doing this smelling thing, and then it creeps towards you, and you can see it's moving like slowly, right? And he's staring at you, and he's ready to run, and you just hold the bacon out, and he reaches forward and snags it and runs behind the wood pile.
So I'll kind of sit down and put my hand out and look the other way. And just continue on with stuff like that for
Okay.
a while.
What are the rest of you doing?
I'm gonna be eating my breakfast and looking at my fancy new sword. After a few minutes of Quentin's absence, though, I'll probably follow him out.
So you see Quentin crouched down, holding a handful of bacon, and as soon as the dog catches sight of you, he bolts down the alley again.
I am overly excited about the dog and just trying to remain very, very still in the hopes that he'll come back.
So Quentin coaxes it back, and it's like shivering. It is so nervous, and every time he takes a piece of bacon, he runs back behind the woodpile until there is no more bacon. My dog is chewing in real life. Pause. In real life, my dog is chewing on a toy, and if it is coming through the microphone and is annoying, please say something, and I will take it away from her and give her a different toy.
It's fine. I can't hear anything.
Okay, back in game. When there's no more
It's the
bacon
dog
left,
eating bacon.
yes, I'm providing Foley work for the stream now. God, that would be cool.
I was gonna say is like
I would do Foley for streams. That would be so much fun.
you have to have a desk.
No,
Oh,
I have
Full of
always
random
I've
vegetable.
always wanted to do Foley work. Oh, that would be so neat. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue,
We
Quentin.
can have a talk later.
Okay.
Anyway, continue.
As I start to get low on bacon, before it's all gone, like the last few pieces, I'll see if I can like, is he still just like completely freaked out, nowhere near me?
No, I feel like you weren't dumb and like giving him an entire piece of bacon. I feel like
yeah, I'm
you
giving him the smallest pieces I can.
and I also feel like you weren't holding it out all the way the whole time. Like you sort of worked it up to where he had to like
Yeah.
come close to like your leg.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was imagining for you getting pretty close to done with the bacon.
Okay. Do I get the sense that if I were to try to grab him, could I like hold on to him and get him to calm down, or would that just make things worse?
You can try it. I'll ask you for another animal handling check because this is a bit different than feeding him bacon. If
Yep.
that's okay.
And so before I roll, I will say, like, if he resists, I'll let go, but we'll see what happens.
That's good to know.
Throttle it.
Like if he freaks out. Let me roll this. It is a 17.
Okay, so describe to me what picking up a very scared puppy looks like.
I think I would try and, like, how big is he? Like Chihuahua size, or how big?
He's it's so I don't know how to describe this without making everybody like super duper sad. Have you ever seen pictures of like a medium-sized dog that's been
Mhm.
starved, and it literally looks like it's a pile of sticks with giant eyeballs?
Yeah.
That's basically what you've got on the smaller end. Like if he were all fleshed out, he'd probably weigh about 25 pounds, but he doesn't. And
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and grab him.
his paws look really outsized from his legs, and you can count his ribs, and you can count each of the vertebrae in his spine. Like this thing is.
Whee!
I know.
Is
I'm
the
sorry.
Eye of an Angel playing in
I'm
the background.
sorry. I'm gonna fix it. It just.
The way he's snarfing bacon, that's not going to be long. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll be fine. But so he's, we'll say from like chest to butt, he's probably about a foot, maybe a foot and a half, like I'll say like
so
15, 16 inches from
at that
chest to
size,
butt.
I'd probably try and grab either his scruff,
Mhm.
or if I could get like an arm under one of his front legs and then like pull him up into my chest,
Okay.
and then just hold him till he stops squirming.
He
Rough
freezes
choice.
when we'll say you scoop him. So you go to scoop him, and he does that thing that animals who don't know you very well do, where they almost seem to levitate up and away from
Mhm.
you a little bit, but you still manage to get him like scooped, and you tuck him into your chest, and we'll say you use your chin to like hold his head, so his head's like tucked up, and so you're applying a little bit of pressure, and it's the kind of pressure to like calm something down, not to hurt it.
Right.
And he struggles a little bit, but there's nothing there. Like he's even lighter. It breaks your heart. He's even lighter than you thought he would be. And he doesn't struggle for very long, and he gives up. Like he's shivering, but he just gives up.
Well, buddy, you're coming with me.
Okay.
And I'll kind of turn around. Like, I imagine all this happened with, like, my back to Marthala.
She probably saw you reach forward and like
Yeah,
scoop.
but, like, couldn't quite see what happens, and so I turn around and, like, face Marthala with this tiny little thing in my arms.
Her eyes are as big as dinner plates, and she kind of has her knuckles up to her chin. She's just so excited and, like...
Whee!
I'm now trying to calm Marthala down, like, via nonverbal communication.
Tears are welling up in her eyes.
With a 17 in animal handling, I will say that if you let go of this dog for an instant, it is gonna bolt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go inside and see if I can track down some sort of rope or something I can leash it with.
So do you go into the common room or up to your bedroom?
Whatever. I probably stop by the common room and ask Druge if he's got anything useful. And then head up to my room to check our supplies.
Does
He
Druge have anything useful?
Ooh. I mean, offhand, I might do something.
What would Harlick do if he watched Quentin walk in with a skeleton of a puppy?
Cast Unseen Servant and hold it for him.
What?
There you go.
I don't think that's helping Harlick. No.
Now an invisible thing is holding the puppy? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Yeah, no, the puppy freaks the fuck out.
Harlick, stop. Harlick.
Quentin, you take it back, and it sort of freezes and then starts shivering again. But it's, like, tucked its head under your chin this time. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but you're at least better than that kind of thing.
Alright, well, the Unseen Servant's still here, so I'll just direct it to feed the dog and stop paying attention.
So Bacon just starts hovering in front of the puppy?
Or, whatever's around.
Cool.
Sausage, other people's pancakes. It doesn't really matter.
Just
I'm
checking.
not really paying attention. I'm busy reading.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
That's kind of what it seems like.
I'm gonna take the plate of the puppy and start letting the servant feed me.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, Quentin definitely lets that happen and sneaks off to the room.
Did Druge have anything for the dog?
He'll kind of lumber up behind Quentin as soon as he dashes off towards the room and just... So you're winning friends and influencing people. Great.
Well, at least canines.
And he'll kind of rummage in his pack for a second and pull out a length of rope and kind of just toss it in Quentin's direction.
Thanks. And I'll proceed to leash it to the dog.
So
Try and, like, tie it off in a harness around his front legs and stuff.
Okay, yeah, he immediately throws himself against it. Like he tries to get away from you. Like he doesn't know what this is at all.
Yeah.
New commotion, new direction. Stop feeding whoever you're feeding.
Oh, now.
Druge, you still up there with me?
Yep.
Can you grab me some more bacon? Quick. Please.
Sorry, mate. I ate it all.
Is that much bacon really good for him?
It really isn't.
Are you talking about the dog?
So we'll say that with a bit of bribery and a bit of like holding the dog, you figure out that as long as you're holding him, he's just shivery, but if you set him down, he does not understand what a leash is. But we'll
work on it.
You make it back down to the common room, kind of like holding this dog, and Marie comes out of the kitchen and she's like, "What is that?"
That's Brandon.
Appears to be...
Oh, she's pointing at the puppy. Like, what?
Dog.
Why do you have a dog? I told you to
Oh,
take care of it, not to adopt it.
Yeah, I'm taking care of it. We're about to leave town, and this thing's
She-
clearly almost dead. I'll take it with me.
She looks completely flabbergasted and stomps off to the kitchen, and you hear more banging, and then she comes back out, and she like not aggressively, because that would slosh all the food out, but she puts a bowl of water down on the floor, and she puts another bowl of like scraps and stuff on the floor, and she's like, "Fine, I'm putting it on your bill," and she stomps back out. And then she comes back out and she throws a piece of paper, like a folded sheet of paper, on the table, and she says, "Felix left you this," and stomps back out again. And she's like, on the way out, she's like grumbling about Felix and like his high-handed son of a pays bill. She's pissed.
Sounds like there's trouble in paradise.
Yeah.
Who's closest to the piece of paper she threw?
You are.
I would just love to go and pick it up and take a look at it.
Do it. You pick it up. It is a note that is signed by Felix. It says, "Hey gang, I think it's about time you head to the next town, to the town of Fandin, to pick up the next piece. I've got confirmation that it's there." And then it's signed Felix, and then underneath that it says, "P.S. Promise there are no evil monsters guarding this one. Ha ha."
Got an awful sense of humor, Felix. I will relay that information to the group.
Well, I don't believe him.
It's very hard to tell when someone's being sarcastic in the written form.
That's true.
I think we've been in town long enough anyway.
Have we seen Geth at all this morning?
That's a good question.
I haven't talked to him yet.
He's all feeding his dragon some.
So I have an idea that I need to run by the player, but I'm gonna use it for now, and I'll retcon it later if he doesn't like it. Just so the internet knows, this will need to be confirmed by Geth before it's really canon, because I am sure there's someone out there that cares very deeply about that. We'll say that Geth has been trying to heal the dragon and thinks there's another ingredient he needs, and he has taken Dab off to another town to try and hunt down this one ingredient from a buddy of his. And he knows where you guys are going, and he'll catch up with you.
Okay.
So no, you haven't seen Geth this morning because he left yesterday, she said.
Okay.
All right. Well, in that case, I think I'm ready to go.
Okay.
He says with a squirming puppy.
All right. So you guys...
IRL or like...
Why not? Pokemon knows.
All right, you guys ready to head out? Anything that needs to happen before you do?
I think we got everything we need.
We just gotta pack up.
Might be the last chance to see the beach for a while. Randall, do you need to...
The beach is always with him in his heart.
He carries the beach within him.
I mean, he
this
is the beach, right?
only beach ever.
Nope.
So.
Has anyone told you to not eat sand?
I don't know what's good for furbolgs. Maybe it's, part of a balanced diet.
Eating sand?
I mean, you said he carries the beach within him.
I don't know. It's
Full of
coarse
minerals?
and rough. It gets everywhere.
That's gross, and
Yeah.
I don't
No.
like it. I don't like it. Okay. So you guys head out. As you head out, Marie says, "Hey, did you need to store anything here? Are you guys heading back? Are you, basically, should I forward your mail, or do you want me to hang on to it?"
We'll be back, I think, Miss Marie.
And she says, "Okay, well, I'll hang on to anything that shows up for you. And I'll tell Felix that you're heading to wherever he's sending you to, I suppose. You want me
What's
to...
the name of the town?
You know that the name of the town is Fandin.
Could I let her know that that's where we're going?
Sure. And she says, "Oh yeah, that should be a fun, walk. It'll take you a couple days to get there, but you should be fine."
Marthala and my bags come floating down the stairs as if carried by an invisible servant.
Oh shit.
Marthala's eyes, for the second time this morning, get very, very wide.
Come on in, lad. You got the bags. Let's go.
Why are you doing that?
Honest to God, Interrobang just picked her head up and looked at the screen as if she was calling bullshit. And I thought that was hilarious.
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
How are you doing that?
The Lord works in mysterious ways. He knows my legs are tired, my shoulders aren't so good. You know, I'm weak. He just lets me
I could
carry it
have
on.
carried them.
Yeah, but why should you? We got the magic. We'll
Well,
make
it
happen.
seems like a waste of a miracle.
Mine a miracle.
Any miracle is still a miracle. Okay. Right. I will look very uncomfortable with the fact that I am not carrying my shit. So,
Yeah, you do that weird walking thing where you're like, I don't know what to do with myself, which is ridiculous because 5 seconds ago you weren't carrying your stuff.
yeah.
Good. Okay, so you guys head out?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Drew's just carrying all of the things.
Ooh, I'm gonna help Drew carry stuff.
Drews, you remember that I have asked you to make sure that you're not carrying around something ridiculous like a horse.
Yes. I
Okay, just checking. I like to call that out every now and then just to make sure that we're on the same page and to remind the internet that I do talk to my players about these kinds of things.
do. There are no horses.
I see.
The horse is a lie.
The horse is a lie. All right. You guys head out. It's pretty early in the morning. You make your trek through town. You are leaving town by the south gate, which is not a gate that you've dealt with much so far. You're going to take the high road to...
Always.
So the high road actually goes down... Oh, I should probably pull up a map. All right. I will send you guys this map. My apologies. The high road goes down to a town called Sindel. It's the next big city, and you guys know that it's on a lake. I've decided you know this. Fandin is a little off the beaten path, so you'll need to take a smaller side road to get to Fandin, but you'll take the high road for a while. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. No, I don't want that. I want this. All right. So you guys are going to spend about 5 days on this road. I'm not going to ask you to make perception checks during camp or anything because I'm not planning to ambush you or anything like that. So,
But if you were,
but if I were, I'm being a little more blunt today because I still don't feel very good. So I apologize if some of the hand wavy stuff isn't there. So it's about 5 days later. It's, we'll say, getting to be about luncheon time. And you were walking on a part of the high road that runs parallel to the Mere of Dead Men. Damn it.
The what now?
Mere of Dead Men. A mere is kind of like a swamp.
Yeah.
MERE. Yep, like that. You
So
know,
we heard anything about this?
yeah, you've heard. So it's a swamp full of dangers, pestilence, and death.
Great.
So obviously, I'm fascinated about it.
Oh, sure. And for the record, I didn't make any maps, so you're gonna look at this picture of trees for the entire session. Welcome to that.
Trees.
that's okay.
Yeah, you could all.
Trees are nice.
Yeah.
Trees.
So you're cresting a hill. It's not a very big hill, but you're cresting it, and you see down at the bottom of the hill, alongside the road, there's a lizard folk pleading with a male human dressed in black leather, And behind the dude, there are two bugbears standing with, one has a morning star and one has a javelin. And they're staring at the lizard folk with menace in their eyes.
I will say, before anything else, once they left town, the tusk swords got attached.
So you've been walking down High Road with swords off your tusks?
I mean, during the day. They come off at night, but yeah.
Sure.
Probably
Sounds
for the
right.
best. Don't want to impale anybody in camp.
Just out of curiosity, how does camping go for you guys? Like, is there like on day, 5, does it dawn on a group of people that all like have split up the duties of like assembling the tents and getting water and firewood, or do you all hate each other?
Marthala is gonna do whatever she's told very cheerily.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do everything in my power to not do anything. Convince everyone else to do it.
And Quentin would be doing everything in his power to send Brandon off on like completely unnecessary tasks. Like, oh, we need more kindling. Can you pick? You're strong enough to carry that, and then like turn around and immediately pull some kindling out of his pocket and light it.
Wow.
That sort of thing.
I will.
Meanwhile, Druge has a couple of hunting traps that he sets up around camp every night and disassembles in the morning before people get up.
You don't have a lot of luck with trapping because this is a fairly popular road, and you actually, this is probably the calmest you've seen it, where you haven't seen anybody all morning. It's a very well traveled road.
It's not for animals. That's fine.
I think it's for protection.
Right. Quentin, I will say that your puppy quickly discovers that y'all do two very important things. The first one is you feed him.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is nobody hits him. He stays glued to your side for the first 2 days. Eventually, he gets really interested in Marthala. And then after a while, we'll say this morning, he's just trotting alongside you. He gets tired really easily, but he's already putting on weight. And when he gets tired, you have started sort of slinging him around your shoulders. And he just puts his head down and he goes to sleep. And then he'll wake up and squirm, and you'll put him back down, and he'll walk for another hour or so.
Yeah, like front legs over my left shoulder, back legs over my right shoulder.
Yeah.
Sort of across
And
the shoulders.
Yep.
During one of these times when he's slung over Quentin's shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
could I kind of sidle up next to him and go, "So, what are you gonna call him?"
He hasn't told me yet.
I mean, he hasn't told you yet.
I mean, he's a living creature. He's got a right to influence his own naming.
I might have a spell for that. Give me a second.
Well,
No,
we'll
probably
see.
It's not too soon. I'd love to know what to call him. It is a him, right?
I check my right shoulder.
I don't remember. Did you want this to be a boy or a girl dog, Luce?
I think it's a boy.
Okay, yeah, it's a boy. So there's a couple of distinguishing features about this dog. One, once you get him clean, his coloring is...
I think it's kind of like a muddy's probably the wrong word, but like a muddy gray, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like more gray than yellow, but kind of like lighter tones, and there's some small areas with darker and small areas with lighter tones, but he's a puppy, so it doesn't quite make any patterning yet.
Right. He's got big ass paws, and his chest is very deep but very narrow. So like back to chest is gonna be very long, but he's kind of skinny. He's got a skinny little set of hips, and he's got a whiplash of a tail. It looks like the end's been snapped off, but it doesn't seem to bother him. And he's got ears that you can't tell whether they're gonna be floppy or whether they're gonna stand up, but they do this a bunch, where they're just like flipping back and forth, and when he gets excited they flip up, and when he feels bad, they almost cover his eyes, like they get so far down. So
He's so cute.
he's fucking adorable, and he's got a snout, like it's a dog shaped nose instead of
He's
like
a hound of some kind.
He's a hound of some kind. Yeah, I mean he's clearly a friggin' mutt, but he looks like I described. Okay, anything else while you guys have been walking along the road or camping?
Anytime that Quentin is not paying attention, I
Mm-hmm.
will feed the dog meat.
You notice that when you are feeding the dog meat, he's looking back at Quentin, and he
That's
seems suspicious of you.
I don't think the dog's ever more than like 3 feet from me.
Right,
Have
but
to
you're
be
not
pretty
always
sneaky.
looking at that.
That's fair.
Relic is
Yeah.
extremely sneaky. Like he
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna make him roll dice. I know he manages to do this at least
Yeah,
once
it's
or
something
twice.
that he just naturally does. Is sneak.
At this
Yes.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I have to take off the sweatshirt or I'm going to die. Okay, anything else that happens while you guys are on up to the point that I just described? On your walk or camping?
What's the weather like?
I probably should have picked a season, so I will say that it is crisp, and it's the kind of crisp that could either be the spring or the fall. And the third day in, it looked like it was threatening to rain, but it didn't. Ground is moist in the morning, like a cool moistness. And you thought you smelled smoke yesterday, but you didn't see anything, and you didn't see anybody, and you didn't run across any campfires or anything, so who knows? And right now
I'd
it
like
smells bad because you're near a swamp.
Fair. I'd like to set my camp up near Brandel every night, just so I can. I'm telling him that it's because I like him, but it's really because I assume that he's warm and gives off a lot of heat, like a really big dog.
That's kind of mean, but okay.
Do we think Brandel will have figured that out at all, or just kind of rolls with it?
Figured what?
I think that's the answer.
Okay.
Marthala, instead of camping right next to Brannon, is actually gonna try and like not be a pest and hang around Druge, but having seen him be pretty vulnerable the day before we left, she's gonna sort of helicopter mom just to make sure that he's still okay and there's nothing going on and like he's good.
Does Druge handle this well?
Yeah, he's actually way more comfortable here than he has ever been in the city. Like, her hanging around is fine because we're out in the wilderness and there are trees and there's shit that he can set up traps for, and like, everything about this is right.
Cool.
On that note, so Harlech probably spends a portion of each evening testing stuff out,
Mm-hmm.
playing with spells, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
which may not be up Druge's alley, so he might not do it right next to camp, but he probably comically badly tries different things.
That's really good for me to know. I might have to do something with that at some point. That sounds like fun.
Probably not playing with Fireball in a forest, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Are there any particular spells that went well in an amusing enough way that you would like to share with us?
I mean, I'm just picturing like comic montages, but I don't have anything in particular that I'm thinking of because I don't really know what I might be doing next.
Does
So-
Harlech still have his own eyebrows?
Over the course of that 5 days? Hold on, let me roll something.
I feel like he has to have lost at least one eyebrow.
Is Luth still green?
All right, I got a
Yes.
very middling number, so I think he's lost a portion of both.
Great. Yes, Luth is still bright green. And so was
Nice.
Geth the last time you saw him.
He's lucky that dog's colorblind.
I think
Excellent.
dogs being colorblind is a myth, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't
I
know.
prefer to buy into that particular piece of propaganda.
Quentin, you
I
are
believe
muted.
They have fewer cones, but they are not colorblind specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have 3 cones, red, green, blue. They have 2 of the 3, and I forget which.
So
Hmm.
colorblind
You
is,
take red and blue.
yeah.
Colorblind is inaccurate, but they are not. Can't see color.
They don't see
below.
monochromatic black and white.
Oh my god, y'all, it was a joke.
So I care about that because when I play Dungeons and Doggos, the dogs, the awakened animals have advantage on perception checks that have to do with hearing and smell, but they have disadvantage on anything to do with color, and because they're colorblind, and it makes me grumpy, and so I ignore it. So it's
So,
sorry.
when you have like a cone that doesn't work, it really messes with a bunch of things. So like there are
That's how humans are colorblind.
yeah, it's really complicated how it interacts with all of your vision. So it's not just things that are red and green you can't tell apart. Like it's more than that. But
Okay.
yeah, it messes with stuff.
Well, it doesn't seem to bother the dog, so that's good.
What types of things does Harlech attempt with his unseen servant, and or on the side is Brannon trying to do similar exploration?
That's a good
when
question.
he gets into the groove of things, the unseen servant is all about camp. Like breaks down his tent, or breaks down his bedroll. Probably fluffs his pillows, lights his pipe, like all that sort of stuff.
Pillows? Of course he has pillows.
Of
Probably.
course he has pillows.
Of course he
I mean,
does.
come on.
Yeah.
He still is bubbly about roughing it, but he's got at least one pillow.
That's very silly.
I feel like Druge and Quentin probably have some things down to a science where, like, they can prep their setup and food and whatever without really having to talk about it or really even look at each other. They just kind of go through their routine at this point.
Oh yeah, that just kind of happens.
Yeah.
How does Brandel feel being out in the woods?
You know, it's nice.
Not the beach, just kind of nice.
It's not the beach, but it's something.
Brandel, I want to remind you that you are a city kind of guy, and you haven't spent a ton of time in the
I know.
woods.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, it's still like vacation for the first 3 days or so, and then he's like, "Wait, I need my cappuccino."
Brandel's just gonna roll with it, huh? He's just, yep, this is happening now.
I guess.
Okay.
You don't really have a choice.
You can have emotions about it, or you can just be chill. It's entirely up to you.
Does he need more help from the others than anyone except for maybe, say, Harlech?
Does he have a bedroll, or does he just lay down on the ground and go to sleep?
I don't mind going just on the ground.
Okay, so you have a bedroll.
The real question is, does he poop in the woods?
Why is that the question?
I mean, everyone has to poop though.
All right, moving on.
That's just me.
Nope.
The old adage,
Nope.
does a bear shit in the woods?
Nope, we're moving on from this one. Okay. Does anything else happen while you guys are getting to day 5?
I don't think so. I think
All
I
right.
just really work on training him, which I think we covered already.
Oh, you don't train that dog. It just gets more comfortable with you.
That's part of the training.
We are currently training a puppy in real life, and it's going to take you a while to get that dog to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because puppies are the worst. Okay, so. All right, so you are we comfortable going into encounter, or is there anything else anybody wants to cover?
Why would there be an encounter here? It's fine.
I already described it, so it's happening. I'll re-describe it. So again, you're on the bit of high road that runs parallel to the Mere of Deadmen. It's a swamp. You know, the Mere of Deadmen is a swamp full of dangers, pestilence, and death. At the bottom of this gentle hill alongside the road, a lizard folk seems to be pleading with a male human that's dressed in black leather. He's flanked by two bugbears that are holding, one's holding a morning star and one's holding a javelin, and they look like they're ready to use them. When you're cresting the hill and you see this, you hear the human yelling at the lizard folk, and he's saying, "Not acceptable! Friends, show this walking fish my displeasure." And the lizard folk starts arguing, saying, I'm not a fish, But the bugbears interrupt with the hafts of their weapon, knocking the wind out of the lizard folk and driving it to its knees. At that point, the lizard folk looks up. He catches sight of you guys, and he looks at you with a pleading expression.
I would like to run to his aid.
Okay. What is...
Unseen servant.
What does running to his aid look like? Are we drawing swords, or?
She's gonna have her hand on the hilt of her weapon and physically place herself in between the lizard folk and whichever bugbear just knocked him.
So the bugbear with the javelin sort of takes a step back because this is a pretty big party. There's only two of them. And he looks uncertainly at the human, and the human is like, "Who the fuck do you think you are?
How far away are we?
Someone who doesn't appreciate you beating people in the middle of the street.
You have no idea what's going on here. Get out. Go.
I don't think I will. Until you give me a good reason why this man deserved what you were doing to him.
I don't have to tell you anything. We are having a conversation, and you are interrupting. Go away."
How far away?
I'm gonna turn to the lizard folk and say, "Sir, what's your name?"
And he says, "Shit." He
Druge
says,
is gradually edging in that direction.
He says, and he's like clutching his chest because they knocked the wind out of him, and he says, Thetis.
Thetis here just happens to be a really good friend of mine, and I would hate to see any harm come to him, and at that I'll start drawing my sword very slowly just to kind of make a point.
And the human he sort of like takes a step back.
How far away are we?
So I'll say that Marthala ran we'll say 100 feet to help Thetis up. I'm just gonna call him Thetis. Help him up, and you guys are like, sorry, did you guys run after her, or?
Druge headed in that direction.
Yeah.
Probably not run, but
I think Quentin is confidently walking that direction at a fast walk, but not like running or anything.
So by the point that Marthala is turning to Thetis and being like, "This is my friend here," you've grouped up around her. And as she's drawing her sword, like, Druge is right at her shoulder, Quentin's right up there, like, you're all sort of hulking around her, and Thetis is straightened up.
I'm back.
Reading a book.
So Unseen Servant is going to stand directly in front of the lizard, and I'm going to be off to the side.
So,
but nobody knows this because it's unseen.
Do unseen servants have mass? Like, if a sword tries to swing through it,
they'll immediately die, but the first hit will essentially not matter.
That's interesting.
DC of 10.
Okay. So as you guys, through your mere presence and involvement, sort of try to intimidate this guy, Marthala, can you roll me an intimidation check? And I'll say you have advantage because Druge.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, you can do it for
what
other
I'm
people.
here for.
Oh, wow. Okay, so here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use my RP point because I rolled a 2 and a 4.
Dang.
Do it.
All right.
So, can I re-roll 1, or do I re-roll both?
You can re-roll 1. I would re-roll 1. Yep.
Much better. 15.
Perfect. So he takes a step back and he's blustering at you. Like, you have no right to be here. You have no right to be involved in this. And like, you just wait until you hear. And he's backing up, and he's stepping between the bugbears, and he says, "Get him." And he just steps back, and The bugbears look at each other and they kind of wade in. Can you please roll initiative?
Poor life choices.
Yeah, that's not gonna go well for him.
No, it's really not.
Harlick, have you been recasting Unseen Servant every hour?
No, I said it as soon as stuff started getting sour.
Oh, gotcha.
I forgot to
17.
set up. I forgot to set up combat. Give me 1 second.
No
I forgot to
problem.
anticipate combat, so I have to pull something. 1 second. Okay. Nope, that's not gonna work. All right, Harlick, you rolled a 17.
I did.
Brandel, what do you got?
14.
Relic?
I rolled a natural 1, so that is a 4.
Cool. Marthala?
8.
Druge?
12.
Quentin?
It's a dirty 20.
And I completely forgot to look up the rules for your dog, so he doesn't count for this fight.
Okay.
And I forgot to roll dice for the goddamn bugbears. Give me 1 second.
Brandel, what did you get?
14.
14. Okay.
Drew, did you say 12?
A 4 and then a teen.
I did say 12.
4 and then a teen.
Cool. Just check it.
Let
Oh
me.
no.
Let me.
I mean, I'm going to be talking to you during my turn, but we'll get there.
I have a feeling I know where this goes, and it's gonna be great.
You're going to like it.
Good thing Harlock's going really early. Math is hard. Okay, Quentin, you're up first.
So just double check if this is an action or bonus action. Where did it go? Shit.
Come on.
Sorry, I thought I had it up, and then I realized I didn't know if it's an action or bonus action. That is a bonus action. So as a bonus action, I'm going to, what is he's within 30 feet?
Who?
The human?
Yes.
Because we were pretty close, right? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to take a step forward, and as I'm stepping forward, I just kind of disappear into a wall of nothing and pop out behind the human. We use face step behind him as a bonus action. And then I'm going to... Ooh, I'm level 3 now. That does something. One creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you before you teleport must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened until the end of your turn. So is there a bugbear within 5 feet of me?
No, he
too far
backed
out?
off
Okay.
quite a bit, and they're wading into the group, so no, not within 5 feet of you.
Okay, so it's before I teleport, so nobody then. Okay, so that doesn't do anything.
Okay.
But I will teleport right behind him and hold my rapier to his neck. And as an action, I guess I'd try to grapple him, or is that intimidation?
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to try and grapple him because
Okay.
he has to be able to react to you trying to put a sword to his
That
neck.
totally makes sense. Yep.
And
You
so
say nothing personal, kid.
does
it's
is grapple a contest or?
it is. It's contested athletics. So it'd be athletics on my end and acrobatics or athletics on his. Is that right, Druge?
That is correct, yes.
This dice sucks.
Knowledge.
Okay. What you got?
It's a 15.
You succeed.
So I'm just holding my rapier just at his neck. As a free
And
action,
what
will say
is that?
stop.
He just snarls at you. What were you saying, Druge?
Which his is that? Is that one of the bugbears or the leader dude?
The human. Yeah.
Great.
Harlock, what do you got?
All right, I'll say, Druge, please don't fight this, and then I'm gonna cast enlarge.
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
I did this specifically knowing what I was in the group, so Druge becomes large category. He doubles his size, as do the things he is carrying, and that gives him, I believe, a D4 bonus on all
It
damage.
does. Yeah.
And advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. So there's that. Then I'm gonna
Advantage
move
on
away.
strength and strength saving. And then you're going to move away. Okay. How far are you going to back off?
My range, 30 feet, whatever.
As
I'm gonna
far
get
as I
away from
can.
the fight.
Be like, boop, and then run away. Got it. Cool. The first bugbear is going to swing forward at Marthala with, let's see, with a Morning Star. Does a dirty 20 hit?
A dirty 20 does hit, yes.
You take dice. You take 8 piercing damage.
Cool.
I said that was a javelin, right?
Yeah, I said
So it was
Javelin
a
and Morning Star.
Oh, sorry. No, Morning Star. That's what I meant. Yeah, I was reading Morning Star. I was saying javelin. What's a Morning Star look like?
It's like a mace with pointy bits.
Yeah.
Yep. As opposed to a flail, which has the chain attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So it's a stick with a ball on the end with spiky things.
With
Yeah.
spiky bits.
Yes.
Sometimes
Think
they're
the
bladed.
Witch King and Lord of the Rings. Return
Yeah.
of the King.
Got it. Okay.
That's a good example.
Cool. Brandel, you're up next.
I will be impressed at the size of Druge.
Yeah, he get real big.
How far are they? Are these guys?
We'll say you're about 10 feet away from them because they got
And
right
what
up
is
in
the-
Marthalla's
what is the
face.
human doing?
The human is busy being held at sword point by Quentin.
Sure.
Or sword blade. Quentin has a sword at his throat.
Sure.
Mhm.
I will.
So 2 bugbears are facing off in front of Marthalla. You're about 10 feet away from them. The human is about 15 feet behind the bugbears, and Quentin is behind him with a sword to his throat. The bugbear on your left just hit Marthalla with a spiky ball thing, and the one on the right has a sharp stick that he's about to try and poke into somebody.
You know, if you aim for Quentin, you might hit one of the bugbears.
Yikes.
Notice where Quentin is in relation to the bugbears.
Yeah, everything is in between you and Quentin.
Sure. So I can't get a hit.
Not
On Quentin? No, it'll be difficult, yeah. You would have to roll at disadvantage if you want to hit Quentin.
No, I'll. Yeah, I'll. I'm just gonna try and ray of frost one of the
Got it.
bugbears.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my roll.
Remind me what that does?
Uh,
Is that a spell attack or something I have to
yeah, it's
resist?
a spell attack.
Okay,
It's just a ray
lay it on me.
frost. That's 19,
That hits. Roll damage.
Nice.
and it's 1d8 of damage. That's a d10. Okay. That's 4 damage for one bugbear.
Did you aim at the bugbear on the left or the right?
The one fighting Marthal.
Got it. Okay, Druge, you're up. There's a bugbear in front of you.
In front of me or in front of Marthala?
Both. The second
Probably
one's in front of you.
Part of you.
Oh, that's a poor life choice.
Yes, it is.
So I double in size with enlarge, right?
That's correct. Double. You are now size large.
Yeah, so Drew's just like 16 feet tall right now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's real big.
That's awesome and terrifying. These bugbears look really resigned.
As they should.
I
Yeah.
could not resist when I saw the description. I was like, oh, well, gotta take that. Done.
That's a spell I must have, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll kind of paw the ground for a second and like tighten the tusk swords, and they'll glow bright red for a second, and I would like to rage.
Nice.
And he'll
Great.
just tusk down, charge through the one that's in front of him, tusk swords first, and that'll be a reckless attack.
Nice.
Get it.
Cool. Roll
Remember
dice
to
or
aim lower than
whatever.
you used to.
It's a 21 to hit.
It hits. Roll me damage.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
And as he does that, the runes on his tusk go black, and everything inside of 30 feet of him needs to make a saving throw for wisdom.
Whew, I'm glad I moved.
That will be Marthala, both bugbears. You said 30 feet?
Sure did.
That'll be the human. That'll be Quentin. That'll be Brandel. That'll be Relic, but not Harlech. So everybody but Harlech.
Said where I was.
Wisdom, you said?
What's your save DC?
12.
Hey, Shauna.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that Brandon came up with us.
Oh, where is
He didn't
Brandon?
Hurry over to the fight.
He probably... Okay, so we'll say not Brandon as well then.
I'm just stumping along.
And what happens when you see fighting start? Do you sort of like, okay,
I'm gonna roll my eyes and wait for my turn.
got it. All right. So for your information, Druge, the human resists, the bugbears do not. Tell me what happens.
So the black runes on his tusks all kind of latch out onto the bugbears, and each of them take 4 necrotic damage.
Oh boy.
I take it everyone who failed takes 4 necrotic damage.
Sure does.
Let's see. I feel like I'm resistant to that. Yeah, I'm resistant to necrotics. I'll take 2 instead.
Nice.
Then I rolled a 10.
Have fun with that 4 necrotic damage. And the one who didn't resist that, who was getting charged, takes math things. $15 points of damage.
Yikes.
Well, now,
Including the necrotic,
I have to
or
do
total?
math.
Including the necrotic, yeah.
Oh, including the necrotic?
And the enlarge, yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, rage damage. 17.
You were ballpark close. That's fine.
Okay. And that was the bugbear standing in front of you, not the bugbear standing in front of Marthala.
Yeah, the one who was immediately in front of me, making poor life choices. Man,
So you-
I've been sitting on that for 3 levels. That's great.
You get him like right like in both shoulders, and he falls off the tusks, and the blackness like goes with like the blackness from the runes are like what still tie you to him a little bit. And he coughs up some blood, and he's like, fuck this, and he rolls over and just he just sits there he puts his javelin down. He's like, I'm out. He's just like, nah, nope.
Nuh-uh.
Tree-sized loxodons are fun.
If anybody attacks him, he holds his hands up like, I'm unarmed. I'm not. Nope. Marthala, what are you doing?
I'm gonna turn to the remaining bugbear. Does it look like he's seen what happened to his buddy just then?
Yeah, so I want you to imagine two hulking bugbears, and they were just told to attack you, and they looked at each other and were like, okay, and they start coming at you, and they're holding their weapons professionally, but their heart's not really in it. And so when his buddy gives up, the guy standing in front of you is like, God damn it, but he's still coming at you.
Okay,
He's
he's coming at me. I have my sword out at this point in time, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna pretend to hit you, and then you're gonna leave the fight and let us deal with law.
roll me. Oh God, persuasion or intimidation, whichever one's higher.
Persuasion. That's a 19.
He looks at you. He looks at his morning star. He looks at his buddy. He looks with disgust at the human, and he drops his morning star and he puts his hands up and he's like, "All right, combat over." So
I'll sort of smile at him
and the human is losing his shit. He's like, "What the shit?" And he is he's gonna struggle against you, Quentin. Can you roll me a strength check?
Okay.
Does
Sure.
he see the
I might get
16-foot
close.
lock?
Can I just reach over and grab him with the trunk? As
Yes.
I'm 16 feet tall.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna make you roll for that. So you wrap your trunk around him and hold him up between two set of tusk swords, and he is swearing up a storm. He's threatening your mothers. He's threatening. Yeah, so you keep him in
It's
control.
Like he's not going anywhere.
You keep him in control until Druge grabs him, and like he's
just wanna take him.
he's completely under your guys' control. But he is just swearing up a storm. He's losing his mind.
As I pull him closer, I'm gonna pull you open and see you from the inside.
And he's like, "Do it! The Black Network will come for you." Does anyone want to roll an
Just
insight
for
check?
Fun, I'm
I
gonna
super do.
enhance his whole
Me
rune
too.
thing
I'm
and
wrong.
make him
Insight,
glow real
even though
bright.
they suck. Oh no, maybe not.
What was that, Harlech?
You're making Druge's runes glow really bright.
Yeah, because why not?
Mhm.
I'm gonna cast minor illusion
Okay.
and enhance his whole rune stuff
Sure.
and make him extra scary.
Sure.
Can I help out the gentleman that they've been beating, whose name I have already forgotten?
Thetis? Yeah,
Yes.
he had backed up quite a bit, and as he sees you grab, like as the bugbears give up and he like steps forward, he's not hesitant, but he's still winded. He's a fairly handsome looking lizard folk actually, and he's wearing decent clothes. He looks like a merchant, but like he's very well put together. They didn't rough him up too much.
Looks like you got yourself into some trouble.
Yes, I thank you for helping me. I don't know what to say.
Well, no one deserves to be beaten in the middle of the street. What is it that they seem to think you've done wrong?
Well, hold that thought. Quentin, what was your insight check?
That was a big old, very strong 9.
Okay.
Yes, excellent.
You can't really tell, like he's clearly yelling, but you can't really get a read on him.
And have I heard of this Black Network before anywhere?
Roll me a history check.
That is gonna be, unless it has anything to do with anything I've done in the past, that's gonna be 10.
You have not.
Okay.
So Theo, give me a second. I gotta write down that he rolled a history check. I'm really sorry. 1 second. Marcella, I'm coming. I'm coming. Okay, so Thetis, he's still rubbing his chest and he says, "Well, it's a bit of a story. If you want me to explain it, I will. It's a bit of a story, though.
I'm interested to know.
And he says, well, my village is in the Mere of Deadmen. We are farmers, I guess you'd say. We grow and harvest this algae. And he holds up, like he reaches into one of the bags that was on the ground at his feet, and he holds up a flask of algae and another like leather packet of like dried algae. And he says, we made a deal with this human, Rascal, a year ago, and it was a fair business deal. Selling our goods to him, and he passes them on. Then about a half year ago, he started saying he didn't have the funds, but he'd pay us back, and then he never really broke even with us. And what you found, what was happening when you got here, was he was trying to tell me that we would have to work for them for free. And I'm the head of my village, and I have started coming to do these drops because they've been beating up my villagers, and I came to tell them that we wouldn't be doing this deal anymore. And well, you saw what happened.
What's the algae for? Why do they want it so badly?
And he says, oh, it's an ingredient in many potions. Most notably, it's used to make a water-breathing potion.
Oh, hey, Harlock!
What?
Really?
Can I wave Harlock over?
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been at this point? Is it over a minute?
It has been over a minute, yes.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Drew's just shrunk back down.
You shrink, and Harley
Notice
is
the
now
lack of drums.
seriously distracted, so that would have gone away anyway.
What is his name? Thetis?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is.
Thetis, this is Harlock. He's our resident. How do I say it? He's
Know it all.
Magic
nerd.
aficionado.
Nerd.
He keeps track of all the pieces of information and things that we pick up along our journey. And it sounds to me like this algae of yours is a wonderful commodity and probably something we should be aware of. Do you mind telling him what you just told me?
Absolutely. And so he explains to you, Harlock, about the business arrangement that he had with Rascal, how his village, the Mere, is a perfect place to raise this algae, which you know is true. And that it's been something they've been doing for generations. His grandfather's grandfather founded the village, and they're very fair and kind, and it's they have agreements set up with many merchants, and it started out fair, but then it got kind of shady, and then now this, and they can't afford this, and Rascal was threatening to send mercenaries to his village to kill everyone, and like it escalated very quickly.
Am I familiar with the potion, etc.? Like, am I familiar with any of the elements, or which elements am I familiar with? So with your background as son of a merchantman, you know that this is a good commodity. The ingredients themselves are worth some money, but if you combine them with a couple of more ingredients, which you probably have the spell for somewhere, or you can figure it out, you can make quite a bit more. So for example, a spell of water breathing is worth anywhere from 300 to 500 gold, depending on the city you're in. How far away are we from whatever city that was that we were in?
Walled, you are 5 days away from it.
Are we close to anything else?
Nope.
The one we're going to?
Fandin isn't what you'd call a big city. But
We're
you're...
kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
But this is maybe not a avidly sought after commodity, but it's definitely a commodity.
Yep. I mean, you need a lot of it to make a water breathing potion. And it takes a really long time to grow. And so it's cheap to grow, but it just takes forever. So the that the crop that this gentleman probably has on him is probably the last quarter's worth of algae. And it only grows about 3 seasons out of the year. So this probably is a good chunk of change for the village. Like if this Rascal guy wasn't paying them for the last couple of loads, like that's the village is probably hurting quite a bit.
Okay. Could you hold that thought? I'm gonna go back over to the human.
Yeah, so Druge is holding on to Rascal, who is the human wearing black leathers. He has swoopy hair, like he thinks he looks very cool. And if he were a nicer guy, he probably would be pretty handsome, but he's got his face all twisted up and he's just spitting mad, as my grandmother would say.
He's cute when his legs wiggle off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's pissed.
Quentin's been reinforcing his dog with treats and attention for just a positive experience after the fight.
He is shivering with fear because that
just encouraging and reinforcing and
okay, that's good. Yep, Harlech, Marthala, what do we? Yep,
Bruskel, was it?
he spits on the ground.
My, you are saucy. My name is Harlech Merkelin. Have you heard of my family?
He just snarls at you, like he's like, let go of me.
I'm not currently holding you, nor do I care. We do trade all over. Just, that's kind of my family's business. What you're doing is fairly poor business. I'd like to know what you expected to get out of it and who your business partners are.
And he starts just screaming at you, like, you don't know what you're talking about. You something along the veins of you don't know what you're talking about.
As he starts screaming, Drews will just toss him onto the ground.
Okay. He's gonna try and get up and run away.
Drews tosses a net at him.
Okay, so he's pinned to the ground with a weighted net. The bugbears at this point, like, you've taken their weapons away. They're just sitting on the ground next to each other. The one that is not hurt is trying to patch up the one that is hurt.
I'm gonna
sir,
continue
if you would be so kind as to give me your ear
Harlech.
for a bit longer.
Hang on, give me 1 second. Marthala, what were you saying? Sorry, she's a little quieter than you. Marthala?
I would like to continue talking to Thetis and say, you're more than welcome to head back to your village. I would like directions, though. I mean, it doesn't seem to me like this is a problem that's likely to be solved with one interaction, and I want to make sure that I'm not putting you in danger.
And he says, I thank you very much. And he looks down at his packs and he looks back up at you and he says, unfortunately, I can't head back to the village. I need to find a buyer for this. Once I get back to the village, the real danger was if they'd kept me and then sent mercenaries. When I get back to the village, we'll just move. We do this every season to harvest the algae. They'll never find us. It's one of the reasons we meet here. There's no way they'll be able to find us.
As long as you're sure you're safe.
We are, absolutely. I just I'll head on to either Wald or Sindel and find a buyer for this. It'll add time and I'll have to try and get a message back to my village somehow, but I can't go back without selling this stuff.
Alright, well, take care on the roads. You should really learn to defend yourself in case you run into other unsavory folk.
He laughs and he says, this isn't usually how we do business, so, but I appreciate that.
1 minute. Don't let him go away just yet.
Okay, I'll have him wait for a second. Harlech, what were you saying to Rascal?
Alright, since this clearly isn't going the way I want it to, I'm just gonna cast suggestion and be done with it.
Okay, what do you do with suggestion?
Go back to your leader and tell him if he approaches this town again, I will kill all of you.
When does suggestion wear off?
It has a up to 8-hour duration. He has to make a wisdom save, but he's gonna roll a 5.
When you do this, when you say this to him, one of the bugbears, like, chuckles. And the other one elbows him, like, shut up, stupid. The Rascal pauses and, like, mutters something. He's, like, suggestion stuck. So he stops struggling. But he just lays there because he's pinned underneath a net.
I'm going to saunter up.
Okay.
I'm going to take everything out of his pockets while he's stuck under the net.
Okay. He has in his pockets a total of 25 gold in his pockets.
Okay. Any other, like,
For the church.
things?
No, he's got a scimitar and a light crossbow on him. Crossbow slung across his back, scimitar's in a sheath on his hip. He's just wearing the leathers. He's not wearing any jewelry or anything. It's the kind of, like, it's like he's in work mode, basically. The 25 gold was probably to pay the bugbears.
But nothing like identifying this
Mm-mm. No,
group
no.
that he's with, no signet rings,
Nope.
nothing like that.
Nope.
Oh, he's just got a bunch of gold. Hey, lizard folk, man, dude. How much do you give you for this algae?
He looks down at his feet and he says, well, I usually sell it for 50 gold. I know it's worth more in the city, but it's too much to schlep it all the way there. But if you guys are going on to another city, you'd make money off of this.
Well, this chap here has 25 gold on him. So why don't you go ahead and take that? Hey, moneybags, why don't you pay the man for this stuff and let's take it home? Addressing
Pardon me.
Harlech.
I assumed.
I mean,
I think
Azaria,
everyone bought.
I'm gonna talk to the bugbears and ask them how much they were being paid, and for what.
The one that's uninjured spits in the dirt, but not in like a mean way. It's just kind of like that
I've got blood
shithead.
in my mouth way.
Yeah, he's like, that shithead hasn't paid us in weeks. He told us he didn't have any money on him. Frankly, if you don't kill him, I'm gonna. And
Give him a few hours, if you wouldn't mind.
the one that's bleeding coughs again, like he's chuckling, and the one that's not bleeding nudges him and is like, shut up, stupid. And the one that's bleeding's like, fuck it, I don't care. So they're kind of muttering amongst themselves.
I would like to extend to you gentlemen a security contract via my family.
And they look super suspicious. And the uninjured one looks at you and is like, I'm listening.
I'd like you gentlemen to escort this load of moss to a merchant in the city.
They look at each other, and the uninjured one, and he says, listen, my name's Jet, and this is Meph. We... Shut up. It was in the book.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I see what's happening here.
And he says, we work for other masters, not this shithead, but we're not really free to take security contracts. If
Then why
you take
working
my
for
meaning.
this shithead?
And he says, well, And he looks at the bleeding one, and Meph looks back up at him and is like, fuck it. And Jet's like, fuck it. This isn't on the books. He didn't tell us that until we were on the way here. Yeah, we figured we'd roll the lizard guy and head back. Whatever. But it's not on the books. So whatever money he made, he told us he'd split with us. He's so in debt to us. Meph and I figured we'd get him back to the city and beat the shit out of him and take the stuff and sell it ourselves and
That's
tell.
not very honest.
And he's like, lady, like, and he's like, then we were gonna, after beating the shit out of him and you know, making this stuff disappear, then we were gonna take him back to our superiors and tell him about this because, hell, we're not gonna get strung up for this. And Meph is like shaking his head violently, like, no, fuck, no, absolutely no. There's zero loyalty here.
How close is your actual employer?
And he looks kind of,
I don't need a name.
and he says, we don't really talk to him. If you know what I
Work
mean.
for somebody you don't talk to?
And he looks at you like you're an idiot, and he's like, "Yeah, do you talk to everybody? Like the guy that you work for? Like, come on." He's like, "Look at us." Like, no, we don't.
I'm related to the person I work for. I don't have a choice.
It's rich kids. Like, he's like, nah.
How tall are bugbears in relation to Druge?
You've probably got some height on them, and they're sitting down.
They're not small, but
No, they're
I
pretty
mean, it's
tall,
not too
but
far.
yeah.
Grung's middling height at 7'2" for bugbear.
Yeah.
Druge is a solid like 8'1", 8'2".
Yeah, so he's
Yeah,
bigger than most bugbears.
You've got height on him for sure. But they're also sitting on the ground.
He'll kind of grab one by the scruff and dangle him in the middle of the party.
Is it the bleeding one or the not bleeding one?
Oh, absolutely the bleeding one.
The not bleeding one's gonna be like, hey.
Give me that back.
Okay.
So you were saying about
the other
people you
option-
work for?
And the non-bleed.
They could get you to keep an eye on this village. Like, that's of lesser concern, but maybe you might be interested.
The not bleeding one is like, listen, I'm not gonna guard some dumb village. You don't understand. The people we work for will slit our throats, okay? Like, he already told you that we work for the Black Network. I don't know what else you want from us. If you want, we'll take this guy back and kill him and, you know, get it all signed off with our superiors, and we'll say that we never saw any of you. How's that?
So wait, he's part of your chain of command?
Kind of. He's an idiot, though. You know.
Well, that's not great.
It's not. It's not great at all.
I think Quentin will wander over at this point and gonna say, Harlock, have you ever worked with anyone who does work off the books?
I'm part of a merchant family. Yes. A lot.
Okay.
Granted,
I think
our
we've gotten
interaction
all.
may be slightly different, but off the books is definitely an occurrence.
Feel like we've gotten pretty much all we're gonna get out of these guys.
Yeah, the bleeding guy that Druge is holding is just like, I don't know what you want from me. Bleeding.
Druge drops him.
He's like, I'm bleeding.
I'm sad that I'm bleeding.
He doesn't like it, no. And Jet is like, listen, if you know, keep our weapons. We'll take this guy back to where he belongs, and we never saw you. Okay? Deal?
Yeah, I give them their weapons back.
How about you say that this village is gone?
Sure. They don't even know about this village. Like, this is literally an off the books deal. And it has been the whole time, I
Great.
guess.
I'll
Yeah.
give him a gold apiece for your help.
He's
I
like,
don't care if he makes it back.
and he's like, yeah, all right, cool. And he tucks the gold in his pocket, and the other one tucks the gold in his pocket while coughing blood. And they, he picks up the net, drags the guy out from under him, punches him right in the nose. Guy goes unconscious. They start dragging him back towards Wald. And
Alright.
the lizard folk is like,
I'm just gonna pass that 25 gold pouch over if that's the option. You're like, here you go.
and he says,
We're gonna be coming back through in a bit.
thank you.
We'll be in touch.
I think
You don't have the gold. I have the gold.
I think he meant the other 25 gold, right?
Oh, I thought you were gonna buy this stuff. I
Well,
just
no,
wasn't gonna
he
take
wanted
it with
you to
us right
pay
now.
for the other half of it.
So the stuff costs 50 gold. The human had 25 gold on him. Brannon was like, we'll give the lizard folk this 25 gold that the human had on him, and you, Moneybags, Harlech, give him the other 25 gold. Do you?
I mean, I wasn't gonna pick it up right now. I was gonna give him the 25 and then come back later and pick it up on our way to a real town.
So his village is deep in the swamp. He would have to come back out to meet you. He can't go home without selling the whole load. So this is kind of a, you pay for it now and take it with you. And it's not that much. Like, it'll fit in somebody's backpack.
Yeah, all right. I would like to talk to you again, and maybe we can set something up. But now is not the best time, so maybe not right now.
And he says, I can contact you at, you said your family is a merchant class, or merchant, sorry. You said your family were merchants. I can get in touch with you. Your name is what's your name?
The family name is Merkeline. We have
I assume I can,
visit port towns.
yes, I assume I can leave word for you in Wald.
Yes, that'll work. I'll let someone know that you'll be contacting. Should I let them know roughly when?
And Thetis says, we should have another crop in another 3 months. If you'll pay it a little more, we'll be able to bring it to Wald, unless you can send someone to us. And we can meet here, say, for the 50 gold we promised this idiot, and like gestures towards the human.
All right. We will. I can't guarantee anything at the moment, but
Absolutely.
that's a good start.
Okay. I'll send word to Wald, and he takes the 50 gold and he tucks it somewhere, and he gestures to the 2 packs on the ground, and he says, "Thank you so much. My village is in your debt," and he disappears off into the trees. You guys have enough algae. It's worth about 100 gold in Wald or another big city. I'll have to look into what it takes, or you can look into what it takes to actually make a potion. But if you make the water breathing potion out of it, it's worth anywhere from 300 to 500 gold, depending on where you're at. So keep that in mind. Who has it in their inventory?
I'll carry
I
it.
assume Harlech?
I mean, I'm not great at carrying stuff, but I could potentially take it.
I
Can
will
you
keep it
can
in
you
my
carry
bag, it's
crushed
fine.
flowers?
Marthala picks up the algae. It is in her bag. Good to know.
Great.
Depends how many flowers.
I completely forgot to do our break, and we're getting close to the end of our time. I'm very sorry about that. I'm usually better about it. You guys okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. And we're ending in about 20 minutes, right? My time is all messed up these days. Okay, just
That's
checking.
what I gather.
All right. It's around lunchtime. What are you guys doing next? Are you guys gonna keep walking down the road?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Seems the order of
Is-
business.
Okay.
Does this area seem familiar at all or anything like that? Have we been through here before, Drew and I, or no?
I can't remember if you and Drew. I think you guys were more north than this. I think this is the furthest south you've been so far. But I can't
Okay.
remember where you're from, so I'm not positive.
I was from south of Wald, but it's been a while, so
Right. Okay. Can we figure that out later?
sure.
Okay.
That's a later problem.
As you guys start to walk away, two draft horses actually come sprinting down the road towards you. It looks like they're those big boned horses that pull like huge carts
Clydesdales?
and yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't think Clydesdales are
Yeah.
really a thing in this part of the world,
Draft
but
horses are
But
draft
that type of
horses.
horse.
They're real
Yeah.
big.
yeah, and it looks like the traces have been cut or snapped, and they're wild eyed and running right at you guys because you're right on the road. What do you guys do?
Dodge the ponies.
Okay, roll me a dex check. If anyone wants to try and stop them, I'll need an animal handling check.
I will try and stop them.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's a 7 on my dexterity.
Okay,
I would just like to try and get out of their way.
roll me a dex check.
17.
Brandon, you are fine. I'll tell you what happens to Marthala in a minute. Anybody else dodging?
I'm dodging.
Dex
Did I
check?
use
I'm going to try to stop
acrobatics for this, or just straight dex?
Just straight dex.
Okay. That is a 23.
Okay, you're
and
fine.
I'm going to roll my other fancy die and say it was a natural 20.
Great, you're fine. Druge?
Oh no, that was animal handling. I'm trying to stop them.
Oh, my apologies. You hold your thought then. Druge, are you trying animal handling or dodging?
Druge might be muted.
Druge?
Oh yeah, I'm standing in front of him.
I'm gonna need an animal handling check from you.
I think the horses will hurt themselves.
You might.
I rolled a 16 for an animal handling.
Marthala, you're gonna trip over Brannon as he gets out of the way, and he gets away. It's like when a cat trips you, and the cat's fine, but you kind of like stumble, so you don't take any damage or anything, but like it's awkward.
What have I told you about getting on a foot?
Awesome.
So Harlick, Druge, and Brandel do animal handling checks. Druge, what did you roll?
Yeah.
30-20.
Okay.
Okay.
So what does it look like? So Druge, you're just standing there, yes? Like arms out, like you will not pass? What does this look like? What are you guys doing?
I think he's just kind of trying to catch them as they gallop towards him, like
Okay.
just planting himself and just trying to grab them on the shoulders.
All right, Brandel, what's this look like for you?
I'm gonna like wave my arms a little bit and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay. And Harlick, what's this look like for you?
I think I'm giving like horse commands. I think I'm like draft horse command,
Okay.
like
So the waving arms and the whistling confuses, and like the big ass loxodon in the middle of the road confuses them enough that they slow down enough that Druge, you get your hands on one set of reins or whatever, and Brandel, you get your hands on another set. They're just the two of them, and so between the three of you, you all manage to corral these guys. And Harlick, you managed to calm them down enough so that they're not rearing up on their hind legs, but they've still got whites around their eyes, and they look a little rattled. You now have two draft horses.
I wonder where these came from.
Well,
What do you do with them?
They have any packs?
Nope. It looks like they were cut out of a hauling a wagon or a cart.
Interesting.
Can
So
we
they've
see
got
anything,
they've
like,
got
from
that
where they
pulling
come?
they've got that pulling harness. No, it's just plain leather. They look well taken care of. Like there's no real scars or anything, but and they've got weight on them. But they're just wearing working leathers. Like they've got that leather harness, and the reins that you caught are the guide reins that are usually long enough to get all the way back to the cart. Those have been cut, and the straps that would have been attached to the cart have been cut as well. So they've basically just got those leather harnesses on.
I think we can
We don't see any
reasonably
cards or
assume
anything?
something happened.
Alright,
Sorry,
well,
one at a time. Brandel, what did you say?
we don't see any carts or anything? Like,
Nope.
up
No,
the
they
road, no?
came like they came from very like further much further down the road. Like they've been running for a while. Their sides are heaving and they've got a little bit of foam. Like
Okay,
they're
okay,
wiped.
gotcha.
They probably would have stopped on their own and just a little bit further because they're exhausted. And Harlick, what were you saying?
I think we can reasonably assume that something happened back the way they came.
Yeah, possibly.
They got cut loose and run off.
Well, it's not our problem. Why don't we just take the horses? We'll go sell them.
You
mean,
of all people don't want to
5
ride?
days away? Might as well
of
go
course
see
I
what
do, but
happened.
I can't get up there on my own, and these are draft horses, my friend.
All right.
I'll immediately like offer my foot to give him a boost up, or like offer my hands to give him a boost up.
He might need several of those.
You know, for once I agree with the halfling.
Yep. Yeah, they're not going to resist you like once they calm down. Like they're well trained. So if you guys want to ride them, I'm serious. These are your horses.
Cool.
You've got 2 horses.
Not
Yeah,
that
take a
they're
ride.
fighting themselves.
I will help Relic up onto one of the horses.
Relic is riding a horse. You can use the reins to direct them. It's awkward because you're not in a saddle, but you're up on top of a horse. Someone could also
Feel
lead
like-
it for you.
Their back
I'll
is
sort of
probably
walk alongside.
I will
like a
task,
child on a pony.
I will create a unseen servant and task it with leading the horse.
Great.
It's a self-driving horse.
The horse is a bit wild-eyed at this, but like eventually calms down. Like whatever kind of thing. Okay, so you guys head off with these 2 horses, continuing down the road. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we'll call it for the
Sure.
evening.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! All right. What'd you guys learn today?
Well, there's a black network somewhere that even has things off the books.
Yeah.
Or like people within the organization will even have things off the books.
The Black Network does not have very reliable employees.
While I'm doing learns,
I've gotten my family a new trading partner.
hang on. While I'm doing learns for anyone that's watching the stream, I'll do our P point in a minute. I'll ask for good role playing moments, nominations, and then the gang, this group will my players will vote. Whoever gets the most number of votes that role playing, they'll get an RP point, so they'll be able to re-roll a D20. Anyway, if chat would like to nominate any role playing points, I will accept chat nominations. Okay, so I have so for learned, I have Black Network somewhere. There are some things off the books. I heard unreliable employees, and I heard something about.
I got my family a new trading partner.
That's the one. Harlot got family.
Potentially.
Potential new trading partner. That's true. What else you got?
Enlarge is fun, you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's straight up perfect.
Yeah, I really like that spell. I think it's gonna be fun. Anything else?
We have a rough idea of where to get ingredients for water breathing potions.
Yep.
Also true.
At least one of them.
Yeah, at least one of them.
All right. We ready for RP points?
Think so.
Sure.
Okay, this is a typey thing, so give me just a second to set that up. Nope, that's CC. I want session chat. And today's date is 21st. All right. First RP point nomination. Go.
Marthala for squealing about a puppy.
Just the saucer plates.
Yeah.
She likes dogs as much as I do.
That's totally fair. I had a lot of fun with the puppy. And I will continue to have a lot of fun with the puppy. What else?
Druge for his whole rage description and charge.
That was really good.
I've been waiting on that for 3 levels, you guys.
That ended that fight before it even got started. That was really good. What else?
Relic for not even attempting to get into the fight.
Yep, that tracks.
Yeah, just enlarge. Yeet. I'm out.
No, no, this was on Relic for not Harlech.
I mean, both of them did the same thing, though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might have continued. It was over before I actually got the chance.
Yeah, I imagine Harlech's probably more of a ranged kind of thing. Yep.
The better the range, the better.
Yeah.
Brandel jumped right in with combat.
For once, and didn't murder it, any of them.
Yeah, and didn't hit anyone, so I feel like that's worth a vote.
At least a nomination. Yeah.
Okay. Any other moments? Are we ready to vote? No suggestions from chat? Okay. All right. You guys ready to vote? Let me see those emojis.
Gotta pick the right one, though.
While they're voting, I would like to share with you guys that I am now a Diceomancer, which I'm very excited about. I really like level up dice, and I have all of them sitting next to me, and they're the dice that I murder my players with. So they're good. They're good dice. They're well weighted, and they're super pretty and shiny to look at, and I love them. And if you would like to check them out, there's a link at the bottom of my Twitch channel that'll take you right to their website. Happy to answer any questions about it as well. Seriously, you guys are going to tie up the RP point?
I think
You're
there's supposed
killing
to be
me.
one more.
No,
Nope,
there's
well,
6 of you.
six.
Yeah.
You'd love to see it.
I count. Oh wait, no, that's not a person, is it?
You guys are the worst.
Spoon.
What was that?
You can be the tiebreaker, Spoon.
I can't.
can.
That's not the point of this whole thing. I
don't know,
refuse
I
to
feel
take
like you
sides.
can.
Nope, can't take sides. It's not allowed. Also, I would have a really hard time because I really like all 3 of those. So we will say that all 3 of you get an RP point for next time, but do not make a habit of this. Do not do this on purpose, please. But yeah,
No promises.
no promises. All right. Well, that is our session for this evening. I believe we're planning on meeting again next week. You guys are on the high road to Fandin. And you beat up a couple of bugbears and a human and got some algae out of it. So, good job, guys.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'm going to end the stream. Good night, stream. Thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope you all have wonderful days. Bye, streams.